All right, thanks for joining us today. We are going to do a quick look at the previewed Fantastic Four set. We got Agent Venom, Hydro Man, and Dragon Man. All right, let's get right to it. All right, let's take a look at Dragon Man first. His sculpt looks super cool. Uh, the flame effects coming out of that mouth look like they could be pretty cool. He's standing up there on a rock, got some cool looking wings and scales on the body. So we'll see how those scales turn out when we see the real figure. He is number 52 of the set, comes in with the keywords Circus of Crime, Enforcers, Frightful Four, Negative Zone, and then the generic keywords Monster, Mystical, Robot. So those generics, he should be able to find his way onto a lot of teams. Hopefully in this set, we'll see some additional Frightful Four or Circus of Crime. That would be cool. Let's take a look at what he has going on here. His first trait is Frightful Four, Property Damage. Friendly characters with the Frightful Four keyword have free. If this character is adjacent to a printed square of block and terrain, generate a light object. So that's pretty good. They can make their own light objects. That gives you a chance to increase the damage on a close attack, or they can make those and then throw them at people. Depending on what other Frightful Four we have, the objects are a way to get range out of somebody that has no printed range value. The next one we have is Mystical Breath and More. It's his special attack power down there on click number 1, 2, 5, and 6. That power gives him Energy Explosion, Penetrate and Psychic Blast, and Super Strength. He does come in at 2 point values. You can play him at 120 or 75. Let's take a look at those clicks that this power is on while we're looking at this power. So on click 1 or 2, he has this power in addition to Run and Shot, starting with Invincible and Impervious on click 2 with 4 damage, 6 range single target, and he flies. So on this, he can have Energy Explosion or Pensai. So I like that both of those are included. That way, if your opponent has his or her figures grouped up, Energy Explosion sometimes can get you more damage that way. And then Pensai is good to get through reducers. So with the 10 movement, that would be 5 with Run and Shot and then 6 range, so an 11 reach. 11 attack is pretty good for 120 points. Those are some good starting clicks, good range, and 4 damage is solid. If you play him at the 75 point value, it doesn't come in until the 3rd and 4th click on that starting line. It would be paired up then with Sidestep and a 10 attack, 17 defense, and then his special defense. And then it's also with Close Combat Expert. So that one's good too. That way you could sidestep and shoot people, or if they do base you up, you have your Close Combat Expert to fall back on should you be on those clicks. The next one is his special defense power. It's on his last 3 clicks. It's Recharge the Batteries. Invulnerability, free, heal Dragon Man equal to the number of adjacent squares of printed block and terrain, then destroy that terrain. Pay close attention that it does say printed block and terrain. So if you have a character that throws out barrier, that would not count. But he does have 3 clicks of that. So if he gets hit at either one of those starting lines, if he gets hit on his first one, unless he gets outwitted, he'll be getting maxed out at 3. So then if he takes a second hit, he might end up on these last 3 clicks. If you play him at 75, if he takes 3 damage, he'll be on these clicks 3, 4, or 5 damage. So there's a chance you will land on these and have the opportunity to heal off of them for free, which is always good. I like it that it's free because on his last 2 clicks, he also has Flurry Blades, which is a great combination. So if you get him in close, and somebody hits him, get on those last 2 clicks, you can flurry blades and then take that free action to hopefully heal him off of those clicks. Okay, he also has on his dial uh, charge. If you start him at 75 points, that's combined with quake and exploit. He is a giant, so that's even better on the top 2 clicks at 120, because then he can see over a lot of different things in order to get lines of fire on the opponent. And remember, giants and colossals can shoot out of adjacency. All right, I think it's a pretty solid for 120 points or 75 points. I could see it get in play on either one. I would tend to play a fly-in run-and-shot character on that top click, especially with it being a giant, to be able to really get the most out of seeing your opponent and getting lines of fire on that opponent. And for 120, I think it's some good stats. Next one, we have Hydro Man. Sculpt looks pretty cool. He has some of the water effects on the bottom of his body and on the arms. So pretty good. I'm trying to think of the other Hydro Man that we've had. I think this sculpt, I dig this sculpt. It looks pretty good. I like the way they included this uniform. His first trait we'll look at is going to be Frightful 4, Opposing Tide. So this is a unique modifier. Opposing characters modify damage -1 when making a range attack that targets one or more friendly characters with the Frightful 4 keyword. So it looks like we might get a few of these Frightful 4 characters. Let's see if they put them all in this set or not. So again, Hydra Man, he's number 43, coming in with Frightful 4, Masters of Evil, and Sinister Syndicate. So on that trait, he makes opposing characters modify damage -1. So paired up with some reducers, that could really affect things. So lots of times you have an opponent, they might have 3 damage, which usually can get at least one of that damage dealt through the reducer. But if you're modifying their damage by -1, that makes the majority of characters that have that 3, now they're having 2. If you have Frightful 4 with reducers, they might not even have enough damage now to bust the reducer. Okay, his second item is a special attack power, Drown on Dry Land. Poison Smoke Cloud. When Hydra Man uses Smoke Cloud, he generates water markers instead. And after resolutions, he can use poison at no cost and considers opposing characters occupying his water markers adjacent for poison. All right, so let's break down that special attack power. So poison Smoke Cloud, and when he uses it, he generates water markers. So keep in mind that those water markers are still smoke cloud markers, so any other effects of smoke clouds still are in place. It just happens to be that these markers then will be water markers instead of hindering markers, but they're still smoke cloud. So if Hydra Man charges in or gets based, instead of doing his power action to charge in, so let's say he charges in, hits, next turn comes around, and you want to smoke cloud instead. He can smoke cloud and let that smoke spread out. So even if he gets based up, you could smoke cloud out to get it under multiple opponents, and then he can poison at no cost. So he could poison the person that's based him, and then he can also poison at no cost via smoke cloud. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if I've seen that on any other characters where they got the poison and then a poison at no cost in the same power. So that's a way to ding multiple people. So team him up with somebody that can outwit defense powers. Get rid of any reducers, and then you could be dealing out uh, two different poison damages. That's pretty cool. All right, he has improved movement, hindering. Let's see what else. We got a 4 range single target. It starts with that 10 movement, 11 attack, 17 defense, and shape change. He has 17 defense throughout the dial. Not that great, but the shape change should allow him some chances to shape change out of attacks. Starts out with charge, moves to sidestep, and then plasticity at the end. He has pulse wave on his last 2 clicks, which is pretty good. That should help with that low 2 damage value. But the 2 damage is also exploit, and he has the pulse wave. So you have penetrating and pulse wave type of damage. So depending on what you want to do, kind of based on position, and if you have some of your friendlies around, you might not want a pulse wave. But that pulse wave at the end could come in handy should you land on those clicks. All right, coming in next is Agent Venom. Sculpt looks pretty cool. He has some good looking web effects, at least in the render, and looks like some spikes on his armor. We'll see what that looks like in the actual version when we get to see that, but pretty cool in the design. Let's take a look at his card. Agent Venom is number 55 of the set. He has the Codex, Fantastic Four, Shield, Spider-Man Family, Thunderbolt, Bolts, Monster, and Soldier. So Flash is coming in with some very good keywords. Fantastic Four, we should have a lot of in this set to kind of start building that back up in modern. Shield has a ton. Spider-Man Family is solid. Thunderbolts has some interesting ones. And then the generics Monster and Soldier both have a lot of characters you can pull from. He comes in with a 6 range single target. He can be played at 75 points or 50 points, and he is a team player, which is the wild card. With those keywords, you can put him on a theme team and have some other good abilities, team abilities to pick from. Okay, Circle of 4 is his first trait. If Agent Venom hasn't been moved or placed this turn, modify attack and damage +1. On a 75 or 50 point character, that is phenomenal. Especially with Indom, because he can make his move and attack and then probably be in range for the next turn. Doesn't necessarily need to be moved or placed. And then it bumps up his attack and damage. So that's a solid one. I like that. But this next trait is great. It's what I like on this character the best. It is call in help from me. Once per turn, when another friendly character that shares a keyword with Agent Venom hits, after resolutions you may roll a d6. 3 through 6, place Agent Venom adjacent to a hit opposing character. So this is great. I cannot wait to put him on some teams. So think about what you could put him on that will allow him to just jump across the map and follow up with close attacks or tie up the opposing character. Fantastic Four, right off the top, we have a Human Torch. I think he has like a 7 range. Shield has a lot of 6, 7 rangers. Spider-Man Family, a lot of 4 or 5. Thunderbolts, I think there's a few with 6 and 7 ranges. Monster and Soldier. You should find some soldiers that have good range. So whatever that other character is, your other friendly character, they could like run in shot. They could be TK'd and then run in shot, take advantage of that long range, hit somebody way across the map, and then have the chance of rolling anything but a 1 or 2, and then you can place Agent Venom next to that hit opposing character. So slightly different than the call and help from the Spider-Verse. I think the Spider-Verse, they go adjacent to the friendly that's calling them in. This one, you go adjacent to the hit opposing character. Now, another distinction is that it is just a hit opposing character. It doesn't say that it's something that you had to deal damage to. So if you do have a low attack value, uh, all you have to do is hit, not necessarily deal the damage. Okay, there's one character that I already have thought of teaming Agent Venom up with. So this is Red Skull from the Black Panther set. He shares the soldier keyword with Agent Venom. Red Skull, take a look at his damage power on his top 3 clicks. He has Leadership Perplex. When Red Skull uses leadership and succeeds, he may also remove an action token from an opposing character anywhere on the map. If he does, this turn, Red Skull has Mind Control as free, but only to target that opposing character regardless of range or line of fire. So I've used this Red Skull a few times. It's a pretty cool one. You can leave him back in your starting area. If you happen to get leadership, so you get it the first couple turns, your opponent is probably still across the map. You can remove an action token from that opposing character and then make your mind control attack as free. This Red Skull sitting there with a 12 attack, which is decent, but he also has Perplex behind it. So he could Perplex that up to 13 to make sure he hits, or he could be perplexing up Agent Venom's attack or damage value. So if you were to get that leadership rule right away, you could pull the token off of somebody that's all the way across the map and then try your call-in help from me off of Agent Venom and have the chance of putting Agent Venom all the way across the map to start attacking right away. Of course, keep in mind first turn immunity, but aside from that, if your opponent is sitting over there kind of doing their setup, you might have a couple chances, a couple rounds where you can try to get that leadership and then throw Agent Venom over there to start going to work. Especially with Agent Venom being a lower cost character. So Red Skull's coming in at 185 with a high attack value. Agent Venom is that 75 or 50 points. So even if you play him at that 50-point value, you happen to get that call in help rule, he's going to be going over there with blades, super senses, and his own perplex. So he could perplex up his attack, and then Red Skull could also perplex up his attack. Red Skull tries for his leadership, his mind control is free, and put him across the map. All right, just like most of the Venoms, we have plasticity and shape change, and it's traded on Agent Venom. Traded shape change is always good. Plasticity to help with that tie-up or to move away should he want to use the run-and shot and side steps that are on his movement clicks. He also has a special damage power on clicks 1 and 2 and click 4. So if you play him at 75 points, it's on his first 2 clicks. If you play him on 50 points, it's on his second click. And that is adjacent friendly characters can use shape change. So not only does he have it traded, but then he gives shape change to adjacent friendlies. That is a good thing to have to give you some more chances to get out of being attacked. All right, I think out of the ones we are reviewing today, Agent Venom is the best out of the 3. Although Dragon Man looks super cool, Agent Venom, those traits and powers are fantastic. On 75 or 50 points with Indom, it's a very good value. As you can see on his dial, if you play him at that 50 points, he has the sidestep. If you play him at the 75, he's coming in with run-and shot. 6 range is good and a single target is okay. He has energy explosion, which I like to see. That way you have some options should your opponent clump together their figures. So overall, a solid dial, some really cool traits and powers, and a low point cost. I could see him being on a bunch of teams also, especially with those keywords. All right. So overall, I think these 3 are pretty good. The Dragon Man looks super cool. I'm excited to see what other teammates we have to use them with. So today we had Hydro Man and Dragon Man, but let's see who else is in the set. Agent Venom, let's see, we had him a couple sets ago, but there's not too many of Agent Venom. And out of the ones that we have, I really like this one's call in help ability or trait. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with what we're seeing so far. Can't wait to see more.
Check it out. If you dig what we do, go ahead and like and subscribe.